host, the infamous one, the ultimate one, whatever you want to call it, from New York City. Today we are live to talk about Hulk Hogan. Now, as you most of you guys heard this morning, Hulk Hogan passed away at the age of 71. Apparently, there was a 911 call at the Clearwater, Tampa, Florida area of a man going to a cardiac arrest, and it turned out there was Hulk Hogan. The medical personnel showed up at Hogan's house. They put him in a gurney, and then they took him to the hospital where he died at 11:17 this morning. Now, Hulk Hogan, definitely a legend in the professional wrestling business. And I go way back from, I'm talking about back in 1978, when I first saw Hulk Hogan in WWE and whatnot. So, that was something for me to enjoy back in the days. So I remember when he first came in, he was managed by Freddie Blassie. And he started a feud right away with Tony Atlas. I remember that there was a interview with Vince McMahon, and Tony Atlas and Hogan kind of talked about who had the better physique and all that. Then Hogan went on to have a feud with Andre the Giant, and where we first saw Andre the Giant, well, what we saw with our eyes back then, Andre the Giant getting body slammed by Hulk Hogan back then. And back then, he was known as the Incredible Hulk Hogan. After that, he wrestled Bob Backlund. He was able to get the belt away from him. But then he went on to Japan. He wrestled in Japan a couple of times. He teamed up with Andre in Japan and whatnot. And then he came back to the United States, where he wrestled in AWA. Now, the American Wrestling Alliance back then was owned by Vern Gagne. He started feuding with Nick Bockwinkel, and there was a big war between these guys. And we saw supposedly 2 times where he wrestled Nick Bockwinkel, where the fans thought that he won the AWA World Title, only for that to be taken away from him. And then he went to WWE. I remember seeing Hogan again back in 1983. Toward the ending of 1983, when Bob Backlund had just lost. He just had lost his WWF title to the Iron Sheik. And then right there and there, we saw Hogan help Bob Backlund when the Wild Samoans were trying to jump him in a match. And he teamed up with Bob Backlund, and the rest is history. As you well know, that after that, Iron Sheik lost the belt to Hulk Hogan in January 29th of 1984, and the rest is history. We saw him take Hulkamania to a level that was incredible. Wrestling was no longer about territories anymore, because the man took advantage of that, especially with WrestleMania, and bought. You can not even say bought, but he took all the superstars from every territory, and he brought them into WWE or WWF back then. Then after that, Hogan held the belt for 4 years. And within those 4 years, he wrestled Paul Orndorff. He wrestled the Macho Man. He wrestled John Studd, Mass Superstar. He wrestled everybody. This man was a legend. And it wasn't until February of 1988 when he lost the belt to Andre the Giant. But before that, him and Andre the Giant had the biggest WrestleMania in history that I could say to this day. I remember being 16 years old and watching Andre get body slammed again. And back then he was like 500 pounds before Hogan had body slammed him before that. He body slammed Andre the Giant. He beat Andre. Andre was the first time anybody saw Andre get pinned cleanly at WrestleMania 3. I remember that. But then after that, a couple of months later, he lost the belt to Andre when Ted DiBiase did a double referee, the Hebners, and where Andre won the belt, only to then the belt be stripped from him, and then the rest they had the tournament. Hogan didn't win that belt again. on to 1989 when he beat Macho Man at WrestleMania 5. And he held that belt for a while until he wrestled the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6, which was another classic between these two. Warrior beat Hogan and whatnot, only for then Hogan to get the belt back the following WrestleMania 7 when he beat Sergeant Slaughter. And then after that, he lost the belt. I believe he lost the belt to The Undertaker, if I'm correct. But again, I'm not going to go through all the stuff that he did, but Hogan was a legend. During that time, from 85 all the way to 93, he was responsible for making wrestling for what it was back then. Then wrestling fell into an era where the wrestling, NWA or WCW, whatever you want to call them back then, WWE, were going through a drought. Wrestling was not that crazy. Now, before I continue, let's not forget that Hogan went to Japan in 1985 and became the first IWGP Grand Prix champion. This is before the G1 Climax. And he beat Tony Inoki. So that's amazing as it is, as you want to talk about it. So he was a legend in Japan too. So he became the first IWGP Grand Prix champion back then and whatnot. So now let's go forward. After 93, he won the belt again. After after not having the belt, after Bret Hart lost to Yokozuna, and then he went in the ring, wrestled Yokozuna, beat Yokozuna, and got the belt again. A lot of people were not happy with that. And Bret Hart, for one, could tell you the story about how Hogan played politics in the back. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a long story behind that. But then Hogan, after that, left WWE. Before he left WWE, he was part of the big historic steroid scandal in WWE with Vince McMahon, where he testified against the government back in 1994. Only for him then, after that, go to WCW, and the rest is history. We know that he then turned heel in 1996 and joined Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to become the NWO. And you know the rest. He was big. He again in 1996. He kind of turned the wrestling business upside down again. And the rest is history. That's what WWE then had to do. The Attitude Era, and the rest is history. Hogan was a legend. A guy who did what he had to do. But to me, the way I look at it, Hogan's downfall came after he retired. Now, before he retired, remember, he still went to WWE. He had some matches with Triple H. He had matches with Brock Lesnar. He had matches with The Rock. The best match he had when he came back the last time to WWE was against The Rock. Now, I read something on Twitter that somebody said that him and The Rock's match was garbage. Are you stupid? WrestleMania 17 or 19, I think it was, in Toronto, where Hogan and The Rock went at it, that was classic. You know what I'm saying? The fans were in it. We don't see that hardly in wrestling anymore. You know what I'm saying? So when Hogan last big match was against The Rock and whatnot, he had feud with Vince a couple of times. He came back in 2004 for Shawn Michaels, but by then he was not even he was slow and whatnot. And Shawn Michaels, sold his ass off against Hogan after that. But I think even though Hogan did all that and was responsible for where wrestling is at right now, because if it was no Hulk Hogan, there won't be no WWE. I'm telling you right now, there won't be no WWE. There won't be no AEW. Okay? There won't be all these other wrestling promotions right now making money, because Hogan was responsible for it. As much as a lot of people may call him racist, or may call him an asshole, or may call him all the things, forget about his outside situation back then. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Forget about that. You know what I'm saying? His wrestling was the thing. He wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world, but he entertained. And by him entertaining, the business grew. There was a lot of people who made a lot of money when Hogan first came to WWF. And then when he went to WCW, a lot of people make money. Okay? A lot of it. Let me read a couple of comments here. John says he can't still believe that Hogan passed. And somebody just said, what's up, dear dog? You all right? Doug Live, thank you for joining us. Jonathan He said, not true. I don't know what he's talking about. Not true. Voltage saying, that's true, bro. He helped so much and he entertained a lot of generation. He did. He did entertain a lot of generation. But now I'm seeing, and I'm kind of, as far as him outside the ring, as Terry Bollea, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But him as a wrestler and as an entertainer, he did his job. Thank you for subscribing, bro. I appreciate that. And pass this along and pass it along to other people. But his contribution to the wrestling business is why we have AEW and we still have WWE. Okay, I don't think if Hogan ever came to WWF then in 1983, who knows what wrestling would have been. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we would not have an AEW. New Japan would not be striving like it is. Who knows what we would have had? Because wrestling back then, before Hogan came, was different. It was mostly smoky rooms and guys out of shape, you know what I'm saying, fighting with each other and grappling. It was more of a grappling type of stuff back then. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but it's true what you say. We have Triple H, but Triple H is late. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing as far as a booker. I think he could do much better, but he's not doing much better. So, but we're not talking about Triple H. You know what I'm saying? Triple H is definitely a student of the game, but not even now Triple H can't wrestle no more. So the aura of wrestling the way it was back then, I don't think can never be brought back. You know what I'm saying? Even though the wrestling right now is probably making more money than ever right now, but with Hogan when he was there, I mean, think about it. Whoever thought back in 1996 at Bash at the Beach that he was going to be the third member of the Outsiders? Nobody expected that. That's why everybody compares. Right now they were comparing John Cena turning heel to the Hulk Hogan turning heel and how much impact it made. The John Cena heel right now has not impact wrestling how it should have done. I think if John Cena would have done something and would have not played that, sneaky heel, and I think The Rock would have been involved, and it would have been like some Illuminati Hollywood thing, it would have been much taken, then everybody would be more involved and more, into it. But it didn't happen. When Hogan turned back, when Hogan turned heel, and what's up, Darlene from South Africa? Thank you for coming in. When Hogan turned heel in '96, that was the biggest talk. I mean, and the way they did it, and I got to give credit to Eric Bischoff, because Bischoff made it look like, this was like WWE Invasion, and, that promo that Hogan did that night, where he said the fan could stick it, it was legendary, all right? Now we're talking about all this stuff that he did. He was, I believe, like 6-time WCW champion, maybe about 4 or 5 WWF. I don't remember. But the thing that kind of messed up Hogan was after he retired and his personal situation, his divorce that he had with Linda, the Gooker video where they caught him saying the N-word. He was pretty much banned from the Hall of Fame for 5 years. Him using the N-word, that kind of messed him up, because by then nobody really respected him. And and then after all that, then there was documentaries on what he did behind the scenes. Him not with his, I guess control of his contract, of how his booking was done. You know what I'm saying? So he and to him, to me, it's like once that started coming out, and especially with the thing that he has sexual relationships with Bubba the SpongeBob wife, and that came out, that kind of damaged him. He was never the same. You know what I'm saying? And he did come back a couple of times to WWF or WWE, and people cheered him. I mean, at one point, I remember a couple of WrestleManias, he mistakenly called that he thought it was the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit. And they weren't in Detroit. I don't remember where they were. And so he became like a joke at one point, at this point. Because then he went and sued Gawker, and took $110 million away from this company and put him out of business. Okay. Then he did the Real American Beard, and then people were mad at him because he was supporting the politics for the Trump and them. And so when he ended up going to Netflix this past January, promoting his Real American Beer, he got booed out of the stadium. Now I saw something on Twitter where somebody was showing a video where Hogan came out and people were booing him. He said, "Do you feel bad for booing Hogan when he came out?" Me personally, if I was there, I would have been booing him too because, I mean, he got caught being a racist. I mean, am I surprised about it? I mean, think about it. He was in the era when he wrestled that back then there were racists coming made time. Racists coming made back then. You know what I'm saying? Chief Jay Strongbow was, how you call it? He called Kamala at the N-word. How you doing, Lucia? Thank you for being here. He called Kamala the N-word. So back then they were comfortable with saying the N-word. But Hogan got caught in a video, pissed off because his daughter was dating a black guy. So that set off a whole domino effect as far as Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea as the person, not as the wrestler. But then again, as a wrestler, he tried to almost sabotage Undertaker's career because Undertaker said it on Survivor Series '91. He did a tombstone to Hogan, but he protected Hogan. If you look at the match between Hogan and Hogan and Undertaker in '91, when Undertaker hit the tombstone, he really protected Hogan. Hogan then went to Vince McMahon and told him that his neck was messed up and it was Undertaker's fault. So he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He was not very popular to a lot of wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers felt that he played a lot of politics. He had creative control in the back. He played a lot of politics. So he was hated. Bret Hart couldn't stand him at all. You know what I'm saying? Him and Bret Hart never got along. So, but at the end of the day, many people will bring that up, his personal life outside, whatever. But at the end of the day, if he was not, wrestling would not be here if it wasn't for him. And Vince McMahon, you got to put Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon took him, put a rocket behind him, and they took off. Hulkamania went far. He used to always say Hulkamania will never die. And today, Hulkamania died. You know what I'm saying? Literally. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that he was battling a lot of demons before he passed away. And there was reports in May that he went for a neck surgery to fix some situation with his neck. And then the reports were coming back that he, that he was doing real bad. He was in his deathbed. But a lot of his people and his crew, even his wife, said that it wasn't true. That he's doing fine. That he's just having little complications of the surgery, which is normal. But how in the world did Hogan ended up? He was recuperating, and then all of a sudden today, there's a news report that he passed away because he was in his home. So, and there was even people putting videos on Twitter, of somebody recorded him being escorted in a gurney, which had people pissed off. Even Bully Ray called out the idiot who posted this on Twitter of Hogan being taken into an ambulance. I mean, wrestling fans sometimes I really question them. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I still ask myself, what do people get out of this? Like, you're doing the most. Why are you recording the man being taken to a hospital? You know what I'm saying? Show Them No Mercy say rest in peace Malcolm Jamal Warner and Ozzy Osbourne, and today Hulk Hogan. And they say death comes in three. And we lost, 3 people who were part of the culture. And, these are people that I grew up watching when I was a kid. So now, they're no longer here. And it's crazy. But, let me know what you think about this. I tell you, you could, give me your comments and let me know, your thoughts about Hogan. What's your fond memory of Hulk Hogan? And like I said, Hogan has some amazing matches than me. with, for me actually. You know, and yeah, he was a horrible human being. I mean, yes, but you still got to respect what he did in wrestling, New John. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for him, there will be no wrestling. There will be no pro wrestling. God knows if pro wrestling even exists. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, again, like I said, yes, I did not like a lot of the things he did. I'm not you know, praising him for as a human being as far as what he did outside of wrestling. I mean, and behind the scenes, he was doing his stuff, but what he did to the profession, that's what I'm talking about. What he did for the profession, that's what matters. Not what he did outside of the profession. Like again, if it wasn't for him, there won't be no wrestling. There won't be no AEW. There won't be no New Japan, CMML. I could go on and on and on. GCW. None of that stuff would have been here right now if it wasn't for Hogan. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's the only thing is that after he retired, he was just doing stuff just to get clout because he needed to be in the spotlight. And at the end, you know, look what happened. He passed away today on the 10-year anniversary when they first reported him using the N-word and whatnot. 10 years ago, he got caught. So it's crazy. Can we say karma? I don't know. Well, all I know, I'm not here to bash the man. I'm just giving you what I have read and what I know. You know, I used to bash him all the time because of the racist thing. You know what I'm saying? I never respected him after that. You know what I'm saying? But as a wrestler, as an entertainer, you know, as a WWE champion, Hall of Famer, he is a true legend. He's a legend. What he did for the business, right now, if it wasn't for him, I would not be doing the podcast right now. Let's be honest. A lot of these people got podcasts. If it wasn't for him, there won't be no podcast for you, most of you. What are you gonna be talking about? Politics, problems. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, you know. You know, and yes, Hulk Hogan Revolution Wrestling. It's true. And he did it twice. He did it twice. He did it in 1984, and then he did it again in 1996 by turning heel. You know what I'm saying? And which is crazy because I think he impacted what happened in the business. It's not the same thing when Cena did it. Cena did it, but nothing has happened. Wrestling's still the same, you know? So, there will be another Hulk Hogan. We heard a lot of the people say the next Hulk Hogan. Lex Luger was called the next Hulk Hogan. Sting was called the next Hulk Hogan. Sting, he created his own status as legend. You know what I'm saying? But again, if it wasn't for Hogan, we would not be here right now. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Hit me up. Subscribe to my video, guys. Subscribe, share this video to your friends. I would appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Let me, how you call it? Leave me a comment. I will appreciate it. I will, you know, again, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and the X and whatnot. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also got a TikTok called the Chokeslam Wrestling, and you can go there and check out my TikTok channel. And again, you can follow me every weekend, every Sunday. I do a new podcast every week and whatnot. You know, and thank you for everybody who's there or here right now. Thank you for your time, Darlene. Hit that thumbs up, guys, please. That will help my channel greatly. And whatnot, and share this with your friends. And I will see you guys this weekend with more of the Chokeslam Wrestling